Hello, English 102 students for the online class. I thought I would jump in here with a video chat uh, to sort of go over today what we're going to do. I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the syllabus where we're at in Unit 6, and then go over some slides for MLA APA guidelines. At this point, in Unit 6, you should understand, re-examine, re-evaluate, and review completed writings for coherence, unity, and sharpness and clarity. And the MLA cited works cited page is something that you should probably consider after having drafted your essay, which is what you're going to do for this week for homework for your assignment. So your Unit 6 assignment would be to draft the first draft with your research and works cited page. Remember that the works cited page should include an annotated bibliography, which is a brief summary of your source in a paragraph, okay, under each bibliographic record or heading or entry. So in your draft, your draft should represent a full essay and not scattered thoughts. There should be included an explicit claim, a clear purpose, proper citation in text and works cited page, varied evidence with blended writing styles. So in addition to the question that I'm going to also contribute into today, this week, thinking about your sources. How trimmed have you been able to narrow down your sources? Are they embedded in your research conversation? Discuss specific elements of the research process that seem frustrating or exciting as you work through putting it all together. Or I know research can oftentimes be both of those things because you may not at first find the source you're looking for, or you may not find exactly the source that you had hoped to find, or maybe the opposite. You found pretty much what you were looking for, and you can address your research question more completely. But for today, at this point in this stage, you should be working on your drafts. But if you have any questions relating to APA MLA citation guidelines and formatting, this video presentation will help to clarify some of those questions. So the goals and objectives for this video, or you want to review is that we're going to review the conventions of MLA, APA citation guidelines and formatting. We're going to compare differences between MLA and APA citations. We're going to understand and apply MLA guidelines, distinguish MLA from APA standards, and we're going to discuss key points about documenting sources. We're going to discuss how your writing must distinguish between your own ideas and information that originates from other sources. And finally, we're going to discuss giving credit to the original sources using signal phrases or directional phrases that indicate what the author is like. Using a signal phrase can help to indicate a direction or kind of a tone in which the author not only introduces the author but also indicates how you're using the quote from the text. So there is no need to cite three things: common knowledge, well-known, easily verifiable, undisputed facts in your own ideas and assessment. If it comes from you and it's common knowledge, you don't need to cite it. And then the question is, what must be cited? Other people's ideas primarily. Other people's interpretations, perspectives, assessments, even if involving well-known facts, obscure or disputed facts or information. When incorporating the words and ideas of other people into your writing, you may summarize, paraphrase, and quote. The difference between summarizing and paraphrasing, what is that? Summarize means to essentially preserve the ways it was written by preserving the structure and the main ideas of the essay without writing anything of your own in the lines that you write. You're just keeping it, but the trick is to find the most essential details to summarize in the and usually in research papers you want to summarize as briefly as little as possible so you don't take up enough too much room in your paper. Paraphrasing is to restate in your own words. Now, even if you paraphrase, it's still something you ought to still credit the original author or cite with an in-text citation. A quote is to comment on a quote as a way of introducing analysis. These are usually accompanied by signal phrases. This indicates to the reader that you are incorporating someone else's ideas according to X, Y, or Z, or X maintains, for example. Other verbs you may use to introduce a quote: agrees, argues, asserts, denies, indicates, implies, notes, states, and many other phrases. When in doubt, if a citation is needed, it is better to cite rather than to be charged with plagiarism. MLA documentation, Modern Language Association, that's what it stands for. A style of documentation is widely used. For the purpose of this paper that you're writing for this class, I'm going to leave it up to you as to whether or not you want to choose MLA or APA. I think some of you seem comfortable with APA. So just as long as you fulfill the requirements for each particular citation style, that's fine with me. It emphasizes the author's name and location of cited material within the text. It requires two-part documentation: in-text or parenthetical citation, and a list of works cited page. Every parenthetical citation in your paper must have a corresponding entry on the works cited page. On the other hand, APA documentation is the American Psychological Association. That's what that abbreviation stands for. And it references the reference list emphasizes the currency of the sources. All sources that may be retrieved by readers must be cited on that reference list. Personal communications such as emails, personal interviews that cannot be recovered by readers are cited only in the text without corresponding entry on the reference list. A parenthetical citation for APA documentation usually involves or includes the author's last name, the year of publication, direct quotes from the original, include page number of quoted material. Online material usually has no page number, therefore it will be included. Now, if you really want to find some more examples to help you in this process of formatting your paper, the book has a really good works cited examples of works cited pages, and actually examples of research papers that are in both styles, both MLA and APA. So if you turn to page 634 in your book, you'll see that the MLA documentation style and works cited lists are represented here in the book in an essay. This essay is about 5 pages long or so, or about 5 or 6, 7, maybe 7 pages, and the works cited page has a number of sources listed. If you notice in the essay, the introductory paragraph serves as a hook to grab the reader's attention and increase the writer's interest. Okay. After a question, you state your claim, essentially. And then in the second page, your body paragraphs give background material on the subject that you're writing about. Some background is usually needed to explain the situation that has led to the controversy about an issue. So if you're going to use a long quote, remember that you want to introduce the quote and set it off 10 spaces, block it in, or indent the 10 spaces from the rest of the paper. All right. But try to not use as too many long quotes, because that takes up a lot of space. Be sparing about how many long quotes you use. Only use long quotes when what you're quoting, you couldn't say it any other way, or you couldn't do without it. All right, and then further, remember that you need to include your warrants, or your claims, and stake a claim. You want to resist the temptation to cram as much as you can in one paragraph, just because it's all on the same topic. Okay. Once you introduce another topics, including support, notice that the items of support seem to be presented in increasingly important order. And then items of qualification. You remember that term from our threaded discussions. Items, and think about items representing the opposing point of view fairly, and so that you can fairly assess the opposing point of view, and then form a rebuttal to the opposing point of view. And then your conclusion should round out the discussion with interesting material for the reader to think about, without offering new items of support or change of direction. And then the APA style is similar, but it's also it's very different in that what's different is if you see the formatting on page 652 for APA, you'll notice that there's a running header for your paper, for the title of the paper, you take a look at that, and then we'll if you have any questions about how that is formatted, you can always take a look at the works cited page on 658. Or actually the APA for this example is on 652, and then goes to 658. All right, and so that concludes this video on APA MLA style guidelines. All right, have a good day.